Yeah, I tend to agree, although perhaps a little harsh. I mean, I think you have to be somewhat assertive in your program or a concept of training that you create, especially back then in the late 70s and early 80s when it was so very different from what was typically utilised. You have to be confident in what you create, and I don't blame him for that at all. However, I do think that it should have improved over time, and it didn't. His theories got worse with time, unfortunately. You know, through the late 80s and early 90s, a lot of his stuff became really, really dogmatic. He just focused and obsessed over the intensity, so much so that every rendition of a program became more and more abbreviated. And don't get me wrong, I've utilised the consolidation routine with clients. It works really, really well for the average guy that doesn't want to spend much time in the gym. You can't tell me that it's going to put as much muscle mass on a frame as something with more volume for a professional bodybuilder. It's just not. But I agree with the concepts that you don't need much work to achieve really solid muscular progression. Now, more volume might be slightly better, yes, but you have to consider the law of diminishing returns. With every extra set that you do comes more time in the gym, comes more recovery required. You have to weigh it up, and for me, volume is something that is cyclic in nature, and that you can benefit from high and low simultaneously. They work in synergy with one another. More is not always better. It can be better. And likewise, less is not always better. It's a little bit more complex than that, and I think that's where he went wrong. And he grossly underestimated the body's ability to recover at the end. He really did. Advocating, one set every couple of weeks. I just think as humans, we're more capable than that. There were plenty of examples at the time of people achieving amazing results with high volume, high frequency training, not just in bodybuilding, but in strength sports, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting. And I think at that point he was just too focused and became really dogmatic on that. And as you say, preached it to be a much better way or concept of muscular development when it simply wasn't. But yeah, his early theories, I agree with, I have no problem utilising for myself as a natural lifter and for clients. The fact that we don't actually need much work to get really good results from the gym. The diminishing returns of more volume. And just low progression. I think his exercise knowledge was very, very good at the time. If you think about the exercises that he recommended, especially with his abbreviated routines, the relationship between those movements, he seemed to have a far better understanding of it than some of the other lifters at that time, some of the other athletes. So